Tracy here with BibleJournalingMinistries.com, and today I'm going to show you how you can cut a second layer for your digital printables. And when I mean second layer, I mean a layer that you typically would put on the back of maybe one of these girls. Maybe you like to create cards with them, or maybe you like to have extra dimension in your Bible journaling, which is awesome and fun. But when we usually cut these out, we usually just cut them out really close to the line. So let me show you what I mean by that. I'll come in here, I'll select all the images that I want to cut out. I will increase my threshold to somewhere around 95, usually works really well for me. Well, there, I'll just do, where am I, 95? That's fine. And then I'll trace the outer edge. And what that does is it gives me a cut line for my silhouette machine. So my silhouette machine will know to cut these out. So then when I print it, and don't forget when you print, let me just make sure these go back in order. I hit Control Z to get this image to go right back where it was. That's just undo. You can use undo. You can use any function that you have on your keyboard for undo. And on the Mac, it's Control Z. So once you print these out and you cut them out, then you have just these images and no second layer. So what I want to do now is create that second layer. Because these are already traced, I don't have to trace it again. They're already traced and they're already cut out on my silhouette machine, which is great. Just a reminder for those of you guys who are new, when you cut on your silhouette machine, you do need to add the print registration marks. And to do that, you just have to open up the page setup panel here. Click this button here that's called the registration marks. And then whichever Cameo or original SD you have. For me, it's the Cameo. I just select the Cameo. And there's your print registration marks. So that by putting these marks on your paper, the silhouette knows where it can cut and knows what you've told it to do on the computer. So you don't forget to do that part. However, when you are doing the second layer, if you are doing it on regular cardstock, you don't need these registration lines. So I'm going to go ahead and take them out for this portion of the video. So I don't need the registration lines anymore. I actually don't need any of this anymore. So I'm just going to move it to the side. So if I were to press cut right now, let's say I put in a piece of cardstock on my silhouette machine. If I were to press cut right now, it would cut out on the paper exactly how we see here. So the image would feed through and I would have a nice real big gap here, and that would just kind of be a waste of paper. Plus I would get these extra washies that I don't want, and it won't be big enough to be a bottom layer, to be a layer that goes underneath the digital printout. So what I need to do now is first I need to divide all of this, because I need to get only the images that I want to have a background layer separated from all the ones that I just really want to delete. Like today, I don't want to have a background layer for my washi. I don't want to have a background layer for this piece. In fact, I don't even want to cut that piece out. So the first thing I'm going to do is divide this whole piece of cut, or this whole traced cut. I guess, I don't know what you call it, traced image. So to divide that, you have to go to the divide panel. So the divide panel is under the modify panel. So you go to modify panel and you just hit divide. And what that does is it now makes each of these their own little individual piece. So now I can delete them. I can move them around. I'm going to go ahead and delete them by selecting them and hitting delete on my computer. So now I have plenty of space to figure out what kind of offset I want for these girls. What do I want to have for the background in terms of width? So right now, if I were to cut this out, I'm just going to move them a little bit just so you can have a lot of space. If I were to cut these out right now, they would cut exactly the size of the previous ones that I printed and cut before. So I want to create like a border around them. So in order to do that, the next step I have to do is open up the offset panel. So if you come over to the right hand screen and you find the offset panel, which is a star I hit that star button, and then I come in and I'm just going to select all of them because I want to offset them all at the same amount. But if you wanted to offset them all differently, then you would just select each individual one by one. So for example, if I just want to offset this one, let's say I want to give her a different size background than everyone else, I'm going to go ahead and select her, and I'm going to hit that star that says offset. Now you see I have a bigger space here, and that space is here, and it's 0.125 inches. If I want to make that smaller, I just come over here while it's still selected and make that smaller. And you can see that offset start to reduce. Okay? But I don't want to do that. I want them all to be the same. So I'm going to undo everything I just did. All right. So now they're all the original sizes again. I want to offset them all the same. So I'm going to select all of them, all 6 images. And then I'm going to select offset. And they're going to offset at 0.125, which actually I think is great. So I'm going to leave that as it is because I think it's perfect. Now, if I was going to cut this right now, it would cut 2 pieces. It would cut an inner piece and an outer piece. I don't want the inner piece now, so I'm going to delete the inner piece. I'm going to go ahead and just, you can see I can move it around. I can move them wherever I want to move them. I'm actually just going to delete them. So just select that inner piece. And I always move it out of the way just in case I don't want to accidentally delete the big one. So I usually move it out of the way to make sure that it is the smaller piece that I have selected that I'm going to delete. Move that out the side, and then move that aside, and move that aside. Come here, go away. Okay, so now those are to the side. You can see I have some extra pieces that I don't necessarily want to cut, so I'll just come in and select them, and I will just delete them. Those are just extra pieces that my machine picked up. Okay, now I might want to save some paper because maybe I don't want to I just want to be efficient with the paper that I have. So I might come in here and move these around so they cut only, certain parts of the paper. And that way I can add some more images here and really use up all the paper. So once I'm ready, I just go ahead and click send to my Silhouette machine. It shows me where it's going to cut. Because these are offset, this is meant to be the back layer. And you can see what that looks like in the card that I made it in a previous video that I will link to. So this will now cut out, and I can put a piece of cardstock in there, and I will just cut out probably red cardstock for this one. And I definitely want to make sure that I have cardstock selected and make sure all my settings are good, how I like them, and that's up to you. Make sure the tool that I'm using is selected, the correct tool. This is tool 1. Make sure the tool that you want to use has the right settings. If you are going to use another tool, make sure that you have that set. I rarely use the second tool, but I may be using it more in the future. And then go ahead and click send, and it will print out that background layer for you. I hope that this video was helpful, especially to the Silhouette machine users. And if you have a Cricut or a Brother Scan and Cut, I'm sure there is some kind of offset function for you. Just go ahead and search up some of those fun YouTube videos that other people are sharing with those particular machines. I hope that this was helpful to you, and don't forget to like and subscribe and share with a friend. Have a wonderful day.